Yeah, we'll continue our study of the strategic course, and today we are going to look at harmonious pawn structure. Right, third principle of the opening. First principle is quick development. Right, quick mobilization of the forces, quick development. Second one is fighting for the center. Today we are going to look at harmonious pawn structure. Okay, and what does it mean? Okay, so let us go back. So let us start from the beginning, right? So can you look at this pawn structure? This is a very common pawn structure in some of the openings. Okay, uh, primarily it can arrive at in Sicilian. Okay, it can also arrive at in maybe some other things, but yeah, let us look at it because the D pawn is missing, C pawn is missing, so very likely it is uh, white seems to be winning. Okay, and what is the reason? So Anup, let us look at it. So let us go step by step. Let us evaluate the pawns structure for the white and black, and in terms of three or four things, right? We said that pawns can be doubled, they can be isolated, they can be backward, right? They can be weak. They can be weak for various reasons, but otherwise you can look at it structurally. You can look at isolated, doubled, and backward pawns. What is a backward pawn? Do you all remember what is the definition of?
Black has an isolated pawn, which is easy to kill.
Yeah, one pawn, one black pawn is isolated. But so let us go one by one. Okay. So first of all, let us get back. What is a backward pawn?
One that cannot be pushed so easily.
One cannot be supported by its adjacent pawns. Okay, and it is on a semi-open file. Okay, so both things are important. So in this case, okay, let us look at it first. So first let us look at isolated pawn. Black has got two pawn islands. One is lone pawn on A file, and then all the rest of the pawns are on D, E, F, G, H. White has also got two pawn islands, 4 plus 2. Black has got 5 plus 1, white has got 4 plus 2. Okay, so now look at it. Queen side, white has got a majority. Queen side, white has got two pawns, black has got one pawn. So it may become an advantage, but currently it is not an advantage because white's B pawn is backward. Okay, it is backward because it cannot be supported by any other pawn, and it is on a semi-open file, right? Now white's pawn, black's pawn A4, will simply call it as isolated, will not call it as a backward, because it is not on a semi-open file. Okay, but it is isolated, it cannot be supported. Now what about black's D6 pawn? Right, black's D6 pawn is a backward pawn. Okay, so net if you look at it, right, from all of these perspectives, so what is the summary here, what we are seeing? See, so let us, in the diagram, the pawns A4, B2 and D6 cannot be defended by other pawns. A4 we said, D6 and B2, right? Only thing is that B2 and D6 will call it as a backward pawn, A4 will simply call it as an isolated pawn. Okay, but all of these are slightly weaker pawns. Okay, then because they have to be, if at all they have to be defended, they have to be defended by other pieces, right? A4 pawn is isolated, B2 are backward. Okay, so we have understood, right? We understood how to classify and see it. Now whether white is winning, I really doubt. Okay, so we'll have to be, because if white's queenside majority was not a backward pawn, if it was a forward pawn or equal pawn, then definitely white has got an advantage, because white would be able to create a passed pawn on the queen side, and then you know the technique, right? Outside passed pawn technique. Then you will be able
Yeah,
to.
but I think the white king can reach the black pawn before the black king.
No, I think the black king's out of the square.
Let us count how many squares white, how many moves white will require to reach the black pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if black can come in, if it is white to play, yes. If it is black to play, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, black will be able to defend it. right? If it is white to play, then yes, it is a win. But if it is black to play, what do you think? Yeah, it could be a draw. I mean, it is not a clear win. Okay, if it is a white to play, it's a clear win, right? But let us not assume that it's white to play. So let us look at it. Maybe it is black to play. Okay, so that we give him a chance, right? I mean, give him a chance and then see. So if we with one move, with a one move in hand, if we can draw it, then it is almost equal position, right? So fine. Though it doesn't mean that it's a draw. Okay, so there is still going to be a thing because both of them are going to see. Black is also, what is black strategy? What can black be? Strategy of black be? Black has got a king side pawn majority, right? So what ideally black will want to do is that he will want to put his king on b5 so that he's supporting his pawn, right? And he is not a thing, but he will also try to push f5, g6 and f5, so that he will try to exchange of white's pawn and then try to create a pass pawn on the king side. So it is danger is equally there. Okay, if white king wants to come to say c3 and then push his b2 pawn to b3, exchange it and create a outside pass pawn, by the same time black can also create a pass pawn on the king side. So it is going to be a balanced thing. We'll have to play it out and see. Okay, it is not so easy. Okay, chances are that it is almost equal, okay, in this position. All right. Okay, so but this is the way to analyze the position. Let's look at one more position, right? This is a very famous ending, very famous ending. Okay, and I'm not sure whether we will be able to play. No, I don't think this is. There is one more ending which is very similar, but okay. So let us look at it. What is again? Can you type and put your analysis on the chat, just like we did just now? Look at it as pawn islands, isolated, backward, doubled, etc. and put it out. First you do it for white, then you do it for black. White has got 3 pawn islands, that is correct. 3 pawn islands, that is correct. One set of double pawns, correct. Does white have any backward pawn? No backward pawn, that is correct. Right? Even the c3 pawn is not considered as a backward pawn because it is not on a semi-open file. Okay, one single isolated pawn on A. Okay, black. What about black now? Black has got 2 pawn islands. That is correct. No double pawns, no isolated pawns, no double pawns, no isolated pawns, no backward pawns. So actually, in this position, black is slightly better. Correct. So black is better in this position, but we don't know whether he is enough better to force a win. But if at all somebody has got a chance for a win here, okay, with accurate play, obviously with inaccurate play, anybody can win. But with accurate play, it is black who has got a chance, not white to win. Okay, it can be a draw or it can be a black win. Okay, so you should be able to assess it like this when you are going into the game. Let us say, just now, let us say rooks are exchanged, okay, and something has happened like this, and so now you are going to start the end game play. So you should be able to just take a minute or half a minute, look at it, and then create your strategy. Okay, no point in, it can be dangerous if in this position white tries to go for a win, unless black is making a mistake. So white can overreach, and then white can also lose a drawn game. Okay, so you have to be careful. So all right, so let us go to the next position. Right now, this is a very famous ending. Pawn islands. Pawn island means a group of pawns which are isolated from the other. So Nandan, let us look at it in this position. Okay, now what, any contiguous group of pawns, but after some one file is isolating, so those group of pawns are called as the island. So here in black's camp, H, G, F and E pawns is one pawn island, and B and A pawns are one island. Okay, now okay, so in this position again, look at it. White has got 3 pawn islands, black has got 2 pawn islands. White has got 1 double pawn, black has got no double pawn. Okay, no backward pawns on either side. Okay, what is the position, okay? And so who has got an advantage? Black has got an advantage, right? Yeah, we can see it. But how to convert this advantage? There is a beautiful illustration, this endgame, okay? And we are going to study this endgame in level 4, and we are going to revisit the endgame in level 5, okay, with more details, because there is more depth to it. Okay, we will study this time only what is okay up to level 4, but this is so deep an endgame. Okay, so black to play. Okay, Rubinstein, you know, how many of you know Akiba Rubinstein? Nobody knows? Rubinstein was one of the best players in the world at the beginning of the 20th century, like 1900 to 1910, 1915. Okay, somewhere around 1918, 19, he fell ill and then he became less. But in the first 20 years of the 20th century, he was the one of the topmost players. Ideally he could have become the world champion also, but our Lasker refused to play with him, and then World War started, etc. Otherwise, during the World War, I think he was better than Lasker. So during that time. So okay, so let us look at it. Yeah, King F6 looks better, so we will look at it. What is the idea of King F6?
To go after the isolated pawn?
Yeah, to
Maybe.
go after the H2 pawn. H2 pawn is the weakest pawn, right? And try to infiltrate, but not just try to infiltrate, try to win the H2 pawn. Okay, so white is forced to defend it. White is just in time to defend it. Okay, king to D2, king to G5, king to E2, king to H4, king to F1, king to H3, and king to G1. Just in time, white has reached to defend. Okay, now look at it now.
Now I think
Yeah,
black should push his pawns and then try to exchange, and then because his king is close, maybe he could get an extra pawn.
yeah, but which pawns he should put first? Put 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 up. Which pawn he should advance? See, there are chances for you to advance the B pawn, the E pawn, the F pawn, the G pawn. Okay, why is E5 better? Ansh, Abhinav, why is E5 better? Anup,
Because you stop white from pushing some pawns.
but F5 also stops white from pushing some pawns, right? So why is E5 better than F5, you think? Or F5?
Because F5 weakens the E6 pawn.
But there is nothing to attack, right? I mean, you are right in general, but here there is no other pieces. So yeah, otherwise you are right that F5, if you push it, then E6 will become like a backward pawn. Right now it is not on an open file, but it will become like a backward pawn. It cannot be defended by other pawns. So
After F5, wouldn't F4 to shut down all of black's pawn?
who is saying that? Who is saying that? Who was that?
Abhinav.
Abhinav, Abhinav, you are right. Okay. So F5, the problem with F5 is that white will play F4 and then black will not be able to play E5 after that. Right. So that is the problem. Okay. And what if you play black plays B5? B5 is also a good move. Okay. Because it is stopping A4 of white. Okay. It is fixing the queenside white pawns. But if you play B5 right now, then black will play F5. Okay, and then black will not allow you to play not F5. White will play if you black plays B5, white will play F4. Okay, that is the main thing that white wants to prevent, black wants to prevent. So black plays first is E5. Okay, and can you see what currently if white cannot move the pawns, okay, then where the king has to shuttle between H1 and G1, right? H1 and G1 only the king has to shuttle between. Okay, so what does white do? White plays king H1 now, E4. Okay, somebody is talking about e4. We should look at e4. Okay. Only thing is that let me see. I think when first we'll see this and then we will go back to the variations. Okay. Anup, your point is valid. E4. What happens with e4 is, can you think what will happen with e4? I can just tell you. I will g5 and g4, not g6 and f5. g5 and g4. Okay. Then white will force the exchange of the pawns, and then the king will come in. Okay, king will come in and get onto f3. White king will come on, getting onto f3, and then he will win the e5 pawn. Okay, so that is a strategy. So, but let us look at it. What right now white is thinking that whatever pawn moves he make right now, he might be into things. So he just passes a move by playing king h1, but then black immediately plays b5. b5 was also a critical move to stop a4, okay, and get a thing, so that the queen side pawns are fixed. Then white king again comes to g1. Now black plays f5. Black is Rubinstein, white is Cohen. There is a player called Cohen. Okay, so black now plays f5. It's a very strong move now. Okay, but after e5. So white is again settling, because white thinks that any pawn move he moves, he will actually be at a disadvantage. Okay, so now g5, correct? Now g5, absolutely right. Okay, so white king to g1 and now h5. Okay, so king to h1 again, and now white says g4. G4 now. All right. So now if black simply white if exchanges pawns, then he's going to lose. Right? He's going to lose it clearly. So he could play f4. Yeah, he could play f4. You're right. And but f4, what happens is white will take on f4. Black will take on f4. White will also have to take on f4. But after that, h4, black will play h4. Then g3, exchange of all the pawns on g3, both the pawns, and then he will be able to win the white pawn on f4. Can you see this? Visualize this. f4, ef4, ef4, then h4. You cannot move the f3 f pawn. You just have to wait, and then white, whenever he pushes the pawn g4 to g3, you will have to exchange off all the pawns, and then white's king will be cut off. Black king will be directly in contact with f4. He will win the pawn, right? And then black's pass pawn will roll down. To prevent it, white king will have to blockade it, and then black king will march to the queen side, win both the pawns, and then promote one of them on the queen side. Yeah, so that is what is going to happen. So white plays e4, that's why. Okay, so but even then, okay, so let us look at it. What if he had taken this pawn, right? If he had taken this pawn, then fg4, fg4. Okay, it doesn't matter what white plays. Black strategy is h4 followed by g3, and then exchange of all the pawns. Even if white refuses to exchange f4, then white will black will take it. Black will take it. No problem. Okay. So ef4, king g5. So no, pasa is not possible because you are not you are not on the thing. You are not passing through the thing. So okay. So even if white does not exchange the pawn, still black will force this, get the king to g3, and then f4 comes, king, he takes f4, king. Yeah, see, he's marching down first, the queen side, right? So this is what would happen if white exchanges the pawn. So white does not exchange the pawn, he plays e4, And now also it is not too different. So f takes e4. So white also takes f takes e4. So again same thing, h4. Okay. So what can yeah, now if you play, now you cannot play f4 because now there is a pass, huh? But so white plays king g1, but g3, h g3, h g3, f g3, king g3. Same thing. Even if you play don't take f g3 and if you play f3, then same thing what we saw earlier. White will push the pawn, get his king onto g3 and then stop all the things. And basically, it effectively black will have an outside passed pawn relatively, and then he will move on to the thing, right. So king f1, king e1, king e4. Yeah. So this is the this is the end game, but there are more complications as I said. So there is maybe later on we will study this again, but right now this is enough to see make the points that we were making just now. Okay, and how a pawn structure, especially in an end game, can be decisive, right? Here, so actually for and Rubinstein was a master of end games. Okay, so for him, all of this was obvious for him. Just looking at it within 2 seconds, he would have just understood. Okay, this is how it is going to play out. Okay, so it happens like that. Okay, I don't know whether you are watching these streams. Currently, there was a World Cup qualifier in India going on. So 11:30 to 2:30 morning, there used to be games. I think Inian won the tournament today ahead of a lot of grandmasters like Bhaskar Nadiban and Suryasekhar Ganguly and so many others. So, but who used to come for commentary was V. Sarvanan. He's an international master, and he was I mean, the same age as Anand. He was playing with Anand in the Indian juniors, etc. So he talked about a lot of stories, and one of the stories that yesterday he was talking about is how much Anand's grasp of a position is there. Right? So he was talking that he and Surya Shekhar Ganguly and another grandmaster, they studied some position, they found out some opening novelty, and they said this is finally it is good for white. Looks like this is the idea. And what do you think? So they showed it to Anand. So they had studied it for 2 hours with the help of computers and everything, and they showed it to Anand. So Anand looked at it for 3 seconds, and he said, "No, white is not good. Black is better." And I think, what? We have been looking at it along with Fritz and engine and all of this and everything we have validated. No, Anand said, no. Just do like this. Black will put his knight here with bishop here, and he will have this strategy to play here. And then you will not be able to counter it. And then they tried it out, and it was true. So like Anand, 2 hours of computer analysis also they could not do. Anand just found it in 3 seconds, and that is the level of grasp actually of the top players. But anyway, so this is just a side
Sir,
yeah.
I actually have a class with Anand.
Oh, wonderful. Very good. Ansh,
Like
right?
every 2 days, he has a 1 hour long session.
Oh, lovely. So how was the experience?
It was good. I have to watch the recordings because in US it's 3:30 a.m.
Oh, okay.
So I can't attend all the classes. So I've just watched the recordings. It's very nice though.
Okay. Fantastic, right? His insight and everything will be
Yeah.
yeah. So how many days is the sessions?
It's a couple sessions. I think it's 10 sessions. He does it once every 2 days.
Okay. Cool. Good. So you can whatever you can share from that, whatever is allowed to share, feel free to share with the team. Okay, but just check that you are allowed to share it. Whatever is allowed. Maybe may not be directly. You cannot share the videos or the material directly, but maybe some analysis that you did with him. Maybe that you can.
You could buy the course.
Yeah, but I think it might be pretty expensive, especially for India. I think
It's 5,000 rupees.
5,000 rupees. Huh? Okay, that is not too.
I don't know if that's expensive or not.
5,000 rupees is not too expensive for Anand's course. Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Maybe I can get my dad to send the link in the chat.
Yeah.
the WhatsApp.
Yeah, sure. Okay, great. So let us go to the next. So we are going to look at a couple of games now. Okay, where in this idea of the pawn structure and what happens if you get a wrong pawn structure, inharmonious in the opening, and if the opponent is really good, how we can take advantage of it. Okay, so it is important to, because this why pawn structure is important is that the name structure, right, it is not easily changeable. And why it is not easily be changeable? Because pawns cannot move backwards. So many times you do something and then you get stuck with it, and the pawn structure can get frozen, and then it will there for a long time, and then that will dictate the course of the game. Okay, you will not be able to easily move it. You can get rid of it only by sacrificing maybe a pawn, but then what happens is, in the hands of a strong expert, even if you sacrifice a pawn and everything being equal, he's a pawn up, so he's going to win in the end game, right? Most likely, right? So it's a dilemma. Okay, so let us look at it. Okay, so this is a game, Adorjan versus Zinska, 1962. Let us look at it. It starts with an English opening: c4, nf6, nc3, e6, nf3, c5. Okay, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and yeah, b6. Black normally this move is played when the knight is on f3 and white has just brought his knight on f3. That time black does play sometimes b6. Okay, now what happens is, now first of all, what were the better moves? In fact, black had got excellent moves. Bishop to b4 was a good move. Okay, pinning the knight and developing his king bishop. Knight to c6 was also a good move because it would have countered the white's knight on center. Yeah, so yeah, nobody should play the English. Okay, many people love it, but yeah, so I don't love it, but I never play English, but I know some people who play English. It is like a system opening because they can play it against anything that black plays. They can always play the, it is one of those system openings, right? London system, Cole system, English opening. You can always play it against, or Reti's opening, NF3, King's Indian attack. Those are the things where, okay, so knight c6 was also a good move. Okay, but to counter the white's knight, but black plays b6, and this weakens his c6 square a lot. Also the diagonal, can you see the diagonal which is there from d5, c6, b7 to a8? Okay, but at least now, so white, what does white do? White immediately takes his knight because he is eyeing to land his knight on d6. Okay, if the knight lands on d6, black will be forced to exchange with the bishop. Queen will land on d6, and it will become a very, what do you call, awkward for black to develop. White will put his bishop also. White will bishop on f4, get his rook on d1, right? And he will not allow the pawn to move, the d7 pawn. And if that d7 pawn doesn't move, black's development will become very awkward. Okay, so that is the idea. So now at least black should, if he has played b6, right, then at least he should play bishop to b7 now. Okay, because you should not, so problem is if you vary between different strategies. Now that you have played b6, you should play bishop to b7. Okay, white will still get a slight advantage. Knight will land on d6, bishop takes d6, right, and queen takes d6. This is there, but still maybe queen will come to e7, right? Queen will come to e7, then white bishop will come to f4, then black knight will come to c6. Yeah, it is still awkward, but it is okay. It is, at least white has got a definite advantage, but it is not a absolute winning advantage, right?
Sir, if queen to e7, then white can play queen c7, right?
Queen to c7, then yeah, you are right, and then b7 will become weak, and white, okay, yeah, queen e7 is not immediately possible. Yeah, queen e7 is not immediately possible. White king cannot castle. So what we'll have to do, black will have to develop his knight to c6 first, get his rook on to c8, and then play e7. Yeah, you're right. Okay, So yeah, black could also have played d5 here, and maybe yeah, white will still play bishop f4, eyeing c7. So black will be forced to play knight a6, and then white will play queen a4. Yeah, this is again an advantage with initiative. Best other option for black was at this position on knight to d to b5, bishop to b4. Okay, and if knight d6, then king e7 was also an interesting move. Okay, you are losing the castling anyway. In this type of setup, you are going to lose the castling rights, or you will not be able to castle for a long time, because if the queen lands on d6. So here black says that, okay, I'm checking out, I'm moving my king to e7, but now making your d6 knight unstable. So that is an interesting way. Okay, so there are these possibilities, but what they are saying is that if you follow something, then actually follow it all the way to the end. Okay, I would have played at least bishop to b7 here, because you can't leave it. But if you now, after knight to d5, knight d to b5, d6. Okay, so what happens? Let us see it. This causes a tremendous weakness now. So bishop to f4, first of all. White is provoking e5. Okay, now you might be thinking, why black can easily play e5, but what would happen with e5? What would happen with
The
The d5 square would be
the
weak.
d5 square will be weakened.
Absolutely, you are right. And not only d5 square, there is a whole diagonal from d5 going up to a8. That is completely weak, because the pawn, b6 pawn has moved, d6, d pawn has moved, b pawn has moved. So now if black does play e5, and he does end up playing, okay, because he does end up playing e5, okay, because there is no other way to defend the d6 pawn. So he does play it, but bishop goes to g5, and now there is a tremendous weakness now, right? So black does try to cover it by saying that, okay, i'm now covering the d5 square. But what does white do? White simply exchanges. This is a right exchange to do. Okay, you can do it, we can take it with whichever way you can take it now. G takes f6 or bishop takes f6. White will simply bring the queen on d5, and it is a one game after this, because what is happening, your rook is falling, right? So at least you will have to give up a, no, your rook is falling, absolutely it is falling, right? So black had to resign at this point.
Knight c6.
Knight to c6,
You'll be able to sacrifice a knight.
knight, yeah, you will be able to
Yeah, and then bishop to d7.
yeah, then bishop to d7, correct. But still it is a minor piece is completely gone, right? One minor piece down. Right. So yeah, so that is that. So what, okay, let us just go back and see what
So
if,
there's 3 minutes left in the meeting.
yeah, we'll just finish this and we'll join back. Okay, we'll join back. So
Okay.
what if on bishop to g5, black had played bishop to b7 instead, okay, trying to cover the d5 square, right? Then also it doesn't help. Bishop takes f6, g takes f6, knight to d5, right? What is the idea? Idea is knight to c7, right? And if knight goes to a6, then also you have a lot of chances. You can move the queen to a4.
Queen a4.
Yeah, queen a4 is there. So, but black goes for an exchange here, and what is the idea? He takes knight to a6. That's how he defends, tries to defend the rook. Okay, but then queen goes to b7, attacking the a6 knight also, right? And so queen to c6, sorry, queen to c8, and then this is still a minor piece win, because queen will have to take a6, and then there is a knight fork coming on c7. right? So whatever way white gets one minor piece up, right? And that is enough. At a grandmaster level, they will not even play. Family fork, yeah. So that is that, okay? So this is again an example where the pawn structure plays a critical role. Okay, and once you damage it, once you play b6, right, and it is damaged, there is no way, you cannot move the pawn back, right? So you have to be very careful in the opening of what is the setup you play. It is important to first develop your pieces after initial 1 or 2 pawn moves, right? And then it is important to get your pieces to the right squares before you venture out. If you venture out on something that you have to be very careful. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop the recording.